Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video, and we are over on the Monarchy series, and I wanted to give you guys a quick tutorial on something, and it's something that people do not use enough. This is the S Plus Mutator. This is one of the most amazing things that you can use in the entire game. Now, obviously it's 0 and you unlock it at level 105. You do have to have the cloning chamber unlocked before you get to the mutator, so that's something you want to be careful about. It's a little bit expensive when it comes to ingot and some of the other stuff, but it's not too bad because it is worth every penny that you spend on this. Now, there are a ton of different modes on this that are insanely useful. Essentially, all you have to do is go into its inventory, and there is a bunch of different modes. Now, you've got the mutator, you have yourself the swap gender, you have yourself create random gender, grants nearby Dinos the ability to breed, sets imprint, you've got stops from aging, causes non-adult dinos to grow much more rapidly, and then radiation, delay mutated eggs. Obviously, that's the first one we went through. So that is 9 different modes that you can use, and this is going to show you how to use all of those things. So this is a huge thing. If you haven't used this and you're playing on S Plus, you need to. Each one of these has its own unique feature, and they are all useful. So for the most part, it's a pretty simple setup. I'm going to go to another part of my base where I have some of these things set up so we can actually just get this, ready to go. So in your breeding area, or whatever your breeding area is, you can see here's mine. All you have to do is send out a mutation pulse to your dinos that you want to breed with. Now, I have 2 because you can stack this a total of 2 times. So you can use 2 mutation pulses that allows you to actually give a mutation to these dinosaurs. Now, it takes 10 element per pulse. So what you want to do is you want to grab 10 element per time you use this, and you'll send out a create a mutation pulse. Now, there's a couple of different things you want to do. I'm going to show you the range of this. So you can see this range right now is massive, but you can also make it so it's much, much smaller. Now, you can make it so the range almost doesn't exist. You can see right there, yeah, that's a much smaller range, and that's about as small as it goes right there. Or, you can do what you probably should be doing and just make this just a massive range. Like, you can go all the way to the max, which is 50, and then you probably want to check the other one. I've got it on 50, so it's going to basically hit my entire base. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create these mutation pulses. Now, you're going to have a couple hours to essentially use this mutation pulse, which sends out that pulse of radiation. You can see it, multiple stacks, increase stat gain per mutation. So you can set up 2 different things. We can try a third, but it doesn't actually change anything. You have to, I think the maximum is 2 unless they've changed that in the last few days. So essentially what you can, and I'll bring a third one just to prove my point. But what you can do is you can stack this guy on top of those other 2 that you went over there, and you can just get a insane amount of stuff, which is, it's just like getting mutations is one of the biggest part of ARC. You get the colors, you get all the stat bonuses, you get everything that you could possibly want. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here. We're just going to use the 2. I know I said 3, but oh well. So we're just going to go ahead and pop that mutation pulse. All you got to do is hit E, and it'll charge up a pulse like you can see it doing right now, and then it kind of like goes poof. And then you can see there's the maximum 2 out of 2. That is the maximum pulse that each one of these things can handle. They will hold this charge for a little bit of time. And once you've done this, the best thing you can do is just go over to whatever male you have ready to go and then enable mating on it, and it'll start mating with those. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to drop those eggs with that guaranteed mutation stat. So we're going to go ahead and enable mating on those guys just so you can see it. Enable mating over here. And then you can just, go across your board. Whatever you want to breed, you can go through and breed with this. I usually do this, and what I'll do is I'll turn all of this off after I've finished my breeding process here, and that way I can go through and get everything that I want and have it just ready to go when it's actually bred up. So I am going to use Stegos. We got Pteranodons over here. I want my Rexes to be bred up, so I'll go ahead and enable mating on the male there. And by the time you get to the last few of these things, you can see the Gigas just started actually dropping their eggs. We can get the Tappies to drop an egg too, behavior, enable mating. By the time you've gotten to the last one, you see all of these have dropped their egg. You just go back through and disable mating. And this won't, basically this pulse is not going to hold long enough in order to actually work for like another breeding session, but it does hold for this one breeding session, which is kind of like the big time. the important thing, I suppose you might say. You can see they take a little bit of time for some of these things. Others are pretty quick. I mean, literally quick as everything. Like, it's insanely fast. So you got to wait a little bit longer. Like this guy's taking a little bit of time. You look away, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know, okay, come on now. Thank you. There we go. Behavior, disable mating. And you see they both got their egg dropped, which is pretty awesome. And then you, like, that's it. Like, that's all you have to do. Go back through, turn them all off, so that way you don't mess yourself up. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy off of mating, because that one's done. Pretty sure the stego, we didn't even turn that stego on. And then we'll turn this guy off. Now, what happens? So, essentially, now you have to collect those eggs. Now, those eggs, I used a hatchery, but that is all you have to do. Now, you see there's a cooldown timer. You can only do this every 5 minutes, so you want to be careful about that with that mutator, to keep that in mind. Now, the next mode. You see, that's the one that does that. Now, you can also swap the gender. So let's say you have a male or a female that you're like, oh man, I want to breed this into my line. Basically, what you're going to do is you are going to quite literally put it up. I would suggest putting the range really small so you don't like swap the gender, because it will swap the gender of every nearby dino. And you can see immune to further gender changes for 6 hours, so you want to be careful about that. And this will not work on any dino with a mating cooldown, so you got to be careful about that. It works just like you would think. Now, the next one grants a random gender to nearby genderless dinos. Fortunately, I have a pair of dinos that are ready for that, and I'll show you what that does. Rock elementals, right? They do not have the ability to breed. Well, insert S+ mutator here. This includes basilisks. This includes all of this stuff. So what we do, we split off another 10, because every single pulse takes 10 exactly. You drop it into your mutator, and then gender assign pulse. You see no gender right now. That's just how it is. And you charge this bad boy up, and it's going to assign a gender to these rock elementals. Now this will give us the ability to breed. You can see this one's a male, and this one is unfortunately also a male. Now, what you can do, again, if you've got a situation like this, you can't breed these things, unfortunately, right? So what you can do is you cool this guy down, and you can go back and switch the gender of one of these. Can be refreshed for blah, blah, blah. Gender will not change when buff is refreshed. You see all that kind of stuff. It does not affect mechs or non-adult dinos. That's something to note. But it's a very simple thing. You just create that pulse, and now they have a gender. Now, grants nearby dinos the ability to breed that normally cannot. All dinos conceived this way will be gestated, so aka they're going to pop out in the stomach. Now, some dinos, just like this, do not, like the rock elementals, they will literally have the ability, but it's just going to be an instantaneously grown rock elemental. So, you can see corrupted dinos, non-adults, mechs, does not affect them. But if you basically put this pulse out there, if you have a male and a female, it gives them the ability to breed, and it just pops out. A majority of the time, you're just going to pop out a full adult, and that's just super powerful. Pretty cool. It's an awesome thing to have, but you have to get lucky enough to get a male and a female, or change their gender around. Now, the next thing right here, you can see it sets the imprint of nearby creatures. So if you have someone that's left your tribe, or you want to change the imprint so someone else can have something, you grab this, and if the activating player is the imprinter player already, then it will increase the imprint quality by 20%. So you can also boost the imprint stats, which is pretty huge, something that is awesome. So you can trade that around. All you have to do is have the dino that you want to trade to you, the person activating it, activating this, we'll get the imprint of those dinos. So pretty important to have. Now, this one's pretty simple. If you use this, it will slow everything down to 1/10,000th of their normal rate. So you are not going to be able to raise those things anytime soon. And basically, you can remove this effect by using it again. Be careful, because it will literally slow things down so much it's ridiculous. Now, another pulse that's more important that I'll show you, non-adult dinos to grow much more rapidly. I'm going to go ahead and show you that one, because that one is ridiculous. You can raise a Giganotosaurus in less than a day. Yeah, that's a big, big change. So we're going to go ahead and grab some eggs that we have ready to go here. Do I have any in here? Come on. Oh, I have Velo eggs. Perfect. Velonosaurus eggs. So these Velos are going to raise at a insanely fast rate. I'm seeing if I have anything else in here that's ready to go, so you can kind of see a comparison. More Velo eggs, sure, why not? So we're going to use Velos as our examples here, and this will allow us to grow these basically to an adult in less than 30 minutes, this pulse that I just talked about. So we're going to go ahead and slop all these things down right over here. All of these. And yes, there are plenty of them. And yep, there we go. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot of them. 10 seconds, they all hatch. And we're going to go ahead and prep this guy. You can see this one right here. It's not on the right setting. But what we can do is put it on the right setting. So we're going to go ahead and create that pulse and set it to, there we go, non-adult dinos to grow much more rapidly. Now all we have to do is pop these guys, and oh my goodness, there are so many of them. We're going to go ahead and hatch them all just so you can see the actual ridiculousness that is the S+ mutator work on these things. Come on. There we go. Okay, oh my goodness. So, and I also have a ridiculous number of giga eggs ready to go, but I don't feel like dealing with those right now. They still go at an insanely fast rate compared to what they would normally go at, so you got to keep that in mind. So all of these, essentially, we're going to go through, and I don't even know if I can be bothered to claim them all right now because it's such a cluster in there. I forgot about how much it's a pain in the butt to claim these things. Let's see if I can even hit. There's one. I think I was able to hit that back one. Oh, there's one. There's another one. Alright, so just go from different angles. If you're having issues with this yourself, it's pretty simple. You just have to, as long as you get them, it doesn't matter. Am I even missing any right now? Guess I'm missing a few, huh? I wonder if I'll just pull them this way a little bit. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and unclaim them. Not unclaim them, but you can see that we moved them, so now we have the ability to pick up these last few ones right here. Oh, come on. Seriously? I see it. I just want it. Let me have this one game. Let me have. Where was it? Oh. Where is it? Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's the last one. So, essentially what we're going to do is these guys are all being fed a little bit here by this tro, but check this out. There's the mutation pulse that we want to create out for these guys. It's going to send out a pulse that's going to make these things raise at a ridiculous rate. You can see these didn't get hit. These did get hit. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how much faster it is because it's insane. Let's just make a whip. Let's make this easy on ourselves, huh? 1. And essentially, let's have these guys unfollow us. Where is this whip? And we're going to go ahead and move all these guys over here. And this is our sample group of how things are normally raised. And they are currently at, 0.3%. These guys are at 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. You can see it's at a ridiculously fast rate that these things grow at. So that is why this S+ mutator is worth every penny that you have. So make sure you're using the S+ mutator. If you have it unlocked, make sure you get to using it. Hopefully this helps you out, and teach out.